I'd like to welcome everyone to the Emmaus Borough Council meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And there we go with a delay.
Yeah.
Maybe we should. I mean. All right, personal appeals part one. Do we have any virtual guests? Is it just Jonas?
No, there's virtual guests. Let me just.
All right, so
Give me a
we'll
second.
have Shane unmute our virtual guests, and if there's a public appeal, please state your name, where you're from, and what your appeal is, and also turn your video on. If you're going to do it now. All right, hearing none.
Hold on, we have the fire chief.
Oh, fire chief.
Yes,
Nice.
we just know that council tonight is about to make a very large and important decision. I just want to thank all the council members for putting in their time to understand the needs of the fire and ambulance departments and our goals for future growth. So just again, thank you for your careful consideration for tonight.
On behalf of council, you're welcome. And also your input. Thank you. Anybody else with a public appeal? All right, we'll let Shane mute them, and that moves us to community minute. Does anyone have anything to bring forward? Councilman Anders?
Sure. This is
Yeah,
just,
make sure you're talking into that mic. You got to get close to it.
how's that?
Yep.
So this is just maybe a little personal one, but Tuesday night and Thursday night down at Kiwanis Field, their Emmaus High School softball team will be playing. Thursday night is senior night. I'll get to walk my daughter out there for one last time as she takes the field. So if anyone would like to come out from the public or you're a softball fan, feel free. Like I said, Tuesday night is mentor night. And, they're supporting the people who helped them through their high school careers. And then Thursday night is senior night. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, that leads us to special presentations, with which we have none. We have the reading of the minutes. We have the April 19th, 2021 minutes. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve those minutes? That's the actual council meeting, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Councilman Hart, seconded by Councilwoman Baumgartner. Any discussion, corrections, or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. And we also have the April 14th, 2021 minutes, which is the minutes from our special presentation on Borough Hall, Police Station, and Central Fire and Ambulance Station. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve those minutes? Councilman Hart, seconded by Councilman Dufresne. Any questions, additions, or corrections on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. All right, there's 7 ayes. Decisions on bids. We have a bid for fire pumper lease, and it's for $100,000. Delivery date's June 1st, next month.
Yes.
Nice. And this came from Budget and Finance, correct?
Well, it did, but the bids just were due on Friday. So,
Okay.
um,
So is it the first tab?
yeah, I would tell you, if you look at your attachments,
Because we have years of options, right?
yeah, the First Columbia Bank and Trust is the lowest of all of them. So really what you need to do is decide a 3, 4, 5-year lease, because those were what Budget and Finance directed me to go out for. And so, the rates were very low for First Columbia. They're much lower than the other 2 that we received. For a 3-year lease, it was at 2.29%, 4-year 2.39, and 5-year 2.49. You see what the annual payments would be for each. I think your discussion really would just need to focus around how many years that you want to pay for the truck. I will tell you that the lifespan, the expected lifespan of a fire pumper for the borough would be 15 to 20 years. So just think about that when you're looking at this. Also think about what the proposed vehicle replacement schedule looks like for the fire department when you're thinking about how many years, as well as what the financial impact would be for each of the three options. So I would just say, that's where your discussion needs. to
I don't
focus.
remember. Did we have a recommendation from the Budget and Finance Committee? Because I know we discussed it, but did we have?
Well, we recommended, like Shane said, they were due now. He had them all the way out to 7 years at one point. and then
Yeah.
We told him just get 3, 4, and 5 year rates.
But we didn't recommend a year.
No, at that point, you were thinking about 5 years, I believe, but we wanted to see what 3, 4, and 5 looked like because four might be an appetizing number, but 5, I think we were leaning towards not 3, but more of the 4 or 5 years. I believe that's what I recall from that meeting.
So,
Go ahead.
okay,
So for 5 years, just so we know, it would be 105,268, about $3,000, not quite, about $2,800 more than the 3-year. And due to the useful life, I would make the motion that we accept the 5-year lease at 2.49% from, who is that, Shane?
First Columbia Bank and
First
Trust.
Columbia Bank and Trust. And again, that's $13,000 less per year at a cost of only about $2,800 overall, because the interest rate's almost identical. That's my motion.
all right, motion by Councilman Dufresne. Is there a second? Councilman Elliott. Any discussion? I actually, I would prefer 4 years, but that's just my own thought because it's a difference of $5,000 a year and you'll pay it off 1 year earlier. I don't think 5,000 is going to bust us in the fire department budget, but that's just my own opinion.
So just by doing that, it saves us $1,400 just for, if we go a year, it saves us $1,400 total. So
I mean,
I just don't help you your numbers.
yeah, that's a bonus, I guess. So, all right, any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. No. There are 6 ayes and 1 no. Councilman Ladenburg. All right. My agenda disappeared. Give me a second.
That could be a problem.
All right. That leads us to communications. We received a letter from our veterans organization requesting the Emmaus Memorial Day Parade be held on Monday, May 31st. We'll let staff handle that. We don't have to vote on that, right, Shane? That's a yearly event, except for last year. There is a rain. Typically, when it rained, it would be in the high school auditorium. This year, if it rains, they're just going to have a small, I'm assuming it's 21 gun salute at the Memorial Triangle. So that's the only difference this year. So hopefully we have nice weather. We received a letter from St. John's Lutheran Church requesting assistance in sewer line improvements. When we had the hurricane rain come through here, they had issues with sewer backup and they're asking for some help. I'll refer that to Public Works Committee.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We received a letter from Aaron Deppy for pavilion rental, and it was a nice thank you referring to our staff for helping them out because they wanted the arts pavilion. It wasn't available at the time. It became available and they made arrangements so that they could be there. But they are requesting a fee waiver and we do have a policy on that. I don't think we have to vote on it, so I will refer that to staff also.
Yeah.
Our policy should just handle that, correct? All right. Does anybody else have a communication to bring forward? Hearing none. We have no borough engineers report, solicitors report.
I have one minor thing, but it's a major thing to me. I did send the letter to Verizon, and guess what? I got a response today. It's here. But once again, they are stubbornly refusing to go along with what I thought was a very fair agreement the last time. So it may get to the point that I say, take it or leave it. I just want to warn you. I mean, how many times can I go back and forth with this stuff?
So can you just tell us what their concern is?
Oh, they have all sorts of little concerns about like the 10-year lease. They don't want they want to lock our fees, even though I said that the fees, if the law changes, they should change. They have all sorts of little things. They have a thing about the aesthetics. They wanted to leave. They're modifying it in certain ways. And I've only skim read it at this point, so I can't give you all the details. But I did send it over to Shane, and if you want to look at all the redlining on it, and this time it really was a fair agreement that we wrote.
Shane, will we discuss that at GA on Thursday? Or
Yeah, it
just a briefing?
It just showed up, Friday afternoon late, right?
Okay.
Yeah, maybe not even, it was more like Friday evening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were working late. She claims that she's very busy. But other than that, I don't have anything else to report.
Thank you. All right, unfinished business part 1, new business, unfinished business part 2. We have nothing on the agenda. Anybody have anything to bring forward that is not on the agenda? All right, that leads us to the mayor's report and our proclamations.
Thank you. As you can see, there are 4 proclamations on your iPad this evening. I will not take the time to read each one of them. I will just tell you what they are. Proclamation 2021-507 is for Police Week, which is May 9th through May 15th. Asking that be known as Emmaus Police Department Week. Then you have Proclamation 2021-508, which is in reference to National Public Works Week, which is May 16th through May 22nd. And this year's theme is the rhyme of public works. Also, you have Proclamation 2021-509, Emergency Medical Services Week, which is scheduled for May 16th through May 22nd. And the theme this year is EMS Strong, Ready Today, Preparing for Tomorrow. Also, you have Proclamation 2021-510, International Compost Awareness Week. This comes from Councilwoman McManaman, and the theme this year is Grow, Eat, Compost, Repeat. And that is for the week of May 2nd to May 8th of 2021. That's all I have for the proclamations. To give you an update, the internal investigation into the alleged allegations made against one of our police officers has been completed, and it will be forwarded to the district attorney. Other than that, I wrote progress.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Which leads us to the highlight of the night, construction project, which has all the way down to S, 16A through S. I'm going to ask if everyone hit 16A, hit your tab, and council votes construction project, hit that one. It's the 5-page kind of guidelines for us. That's what I'm going to be following. So we're going to be voting on things one by one, starting with things that we kind of know from our meeting last Wednesday, what direction we're going. So with that being said, for town hall, we have town hall option of keeping the 2 bays as is, meaning our garage in the front, eliminating the parking bays and build a shell space that can be used for whatever in the future. We'll call that number 2. And the garage, eliminating parking bays and fit the room for what we're calling a general purpose room. So would somebody like to make a motion?
Yeah, before you do that, I would ask that you make the motion whether or not to do town hall in general first, And then if you do vote to do town hall.
Go for an
then-
option.
Then go
All
into the
right, so
option.
is there a
And I
mo-
would do that for each building.
Is there a motion to do town hall? Councilwoman Baumgartner, seconded by Councilman Anders. Any discussion? We had a lot on it over the months. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Now, would somebody like to make a motion to do one of the 3 options that I just mentioned? Councilman Hart.
I'd like to make a motion that we proceed with option 3, eliminate parking bays and fit the room out for a cost of approximately $5,000.
Motion by Councilman Hart. Is there a second? Councilman Anders. Any discussion on this? I'm supporting this because I mentioned it before. I do think it's going to be a revenue generator. It's not going to make us a fortune, but any little bit helps, if people can rent it out for parties or whatever. And it's also something that maybe some of our commissions can use too. So, or in our public events downtown, we can open that up and be part of things now with that being on the first floor. So all those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Is there a motion to approve the central station as designed? Councilman Hart, seconded by Councilman Balliet. Any discussion on this?
I would just suggest, as I said in your packets, understanding that the
Baseball.
vote would mean, we have to move the baseball field with this. So that has to be part of the project is moving the baseball field. We don't have to do the rest of the park. I mean, we'll apply for grant money after all that concept is done, but there's no choice. Either you eliminate the baseball field or you move the baseball field. And with the master park study, it shows moving it anyway. So just understand that has to be, you don't have to make a motion, doesn't have to be part of the motion, but
Right.
you just need to understand that is
I believe
part of what
everyone
you're
knew
doing.
that already,
Yep.
hopefully.
I just need to reiterate
Okay.
that's part of this.
All right, any other comment, Councilwoman Baumgartner?
And I just wanted to reiterate that during the public meetings for Lions Field, everybody was in support of relocating,
Okay.
aside from this plan, before even knowing that, everybody was in support of relocating the ball field anyway. So just so you're aware.
All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. We will move on to page 2, which is our police department. As you know, we have 3 concepts. I think at this point, I'm just going to open it up for discussion. People can bring motions forward if they like, or if they want to just discuss certain parts of an individual concept. I'm pretty sure concept 1, nobody's in favor of building across the alley. But if you're in favor of that, you can bring it up, but I haven't heard that up until this point. Concept 2 is adding the closing the Sally ports. I think last meeting we came to a conclusion there too. So if somebody wants to discuss concept 3 and bring up their thoughts, now's the time to do it.
I have a question.
Councilwoman
Um,
McManaman?
On concept 3, the west canopy, was it brought up that there was a purpose for the west canopy?
So the west canopy, the whole idea behind the west canopy
Mhm.
and the cost behind that was putting the footers and foundation in just in case in the future, the police department was going to put the addition on the back for the evidence room. That's on the west.
And is that the only thing that was brought up? There was nothing about basement water, nothing?
Nope.
That there was
Yeah,
no
I think you're thinking other side.
east?
The east canopy has
Okay.
no functional purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to help with stormwater, but
Mhm.
the bulk of that stormwater is coming off the road. The canopy is not going to stop that.
Thank you.
And with the addition on the west canopy, we determined through the chief and other members of the department that we can store evidence off-site. So we don't really need to do that now unless it's an addition with something else in there. But just want to point that out. Councilman Dufresne.
So at last week's meeting, when it was discussed and at least in my eyes, it was changed at the last minute by the police department because for the 12 years that I've been here, granted I missed 5 years in between, but from my first time here in 2009 through current, to me, it's all been about storage, evidence storage. And that changed completely last week. So What I only feel comfortable with right now is building the rear garage, giving them a little bit of the evidence room that we talked about. And I'd rather see them come back to us with what they really need over there. Because to me, the rules changed right at the end, and we spent a lot of time going through this project the right way. I'm okay with doing more there. I just want to see it done properly. But for right now, I don't necessarily support spending money over there until they come back with what they truly need to make it more efficient. That's where I stand.
So when you say over there, does that include the garage or not include the
The
garage?
garage, I would be for the garage here.
The
And-
addition
and for giving
on the
them
alley garage or the back of the Borough Hall
back of
garage?
the Borough Hall
Okay.
garage. And the
Alright.
storage room, the extra storage over here. Got them.
Okay, Councilman Hart.
Just do me a favor and get closer to the mics.
I
Okay.
will second that as a form of a motion for the rear garage. And that we move forward with that and have them request additional information from subsequent.
Okay, we were doing discussion, but you're making a motion. So there's a motion by Councilman Hart,
I'll second.
motion or second by Councilman Dufresne. Is there more discussion since there's an actual motion out there? Councilman Anders?
Just to be clarify, this is to build the parking on the back of Borough Hall, the garage area. And then just the area that was already, if we were, I believe we voted on that previously in the town hall, that we would be fitting out the current
In the
garage.
animal control section,
That-
bicycle, all
And
that.
that is all that we have here, correct?
So that's
The-
part
the
of your
parking-
motion, correct?
That was my motion.
Yes.
Okay,
that's-
just
that's-
making sure that it's clarified.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The evidence, additional evidence space behind.
We'll kind of,
But that's,
Time-
That's
that's,
not
that's where I'm
evidence-based.
confused with it, because there would not be any evidence in the current garage.
Shane, so we're all on the same
Yeah.
page. Do you have the ability to bring that slide up that you showed us on last Wednesday? Because you pointed out where it would be,
yeah,
just so we're all on the same page.
The reason I brought that up is because we didn't have any design in the current garage for an evidence. And I'm not supportive of spending more to build that right at this moment.
So you don't want to do the evidence in the Borough Hall
In the
part.
Borough Hall portion,
okay,
correct?
hold on just a second. So, Central. Police, okay, so there's 1, 2. 2. Concept 3. So I think, and I'm going to share this screen if this is the spot. Very clear. Luckily, I'm not sharing the screen, so all these see me going through crazy here. Here we go. Okay. So,
Mr.
council.
Ladenburg, can I clarify something? Royce, just so. we're on the same page.
John,
My intent was not to spend any money, architectural money,
Is this it, Chris?
on the back of the,
Right.
on the back of the garage. I simply said, you're welcome to put whatever evidence they could put over there, put it there.
Okay.
Not to use architectural
Right,
money.
that's what I just wanted to make sure.
So I think this is the screen that we're talking about with the, it would now say it's not borough use shell space, it's actually going to be fit out, but the police storage and bikes and the canine were behind that space. And then the rear garages were in the back. That's concept number.
And we're staying with that and not putting, fitting it for evidence.
Not spending any dollars to design evidence. They're welcome to put
Okay,
evidence.
so
in
you're
there.
clarified on that then.
Right, I think though we should take the word evidence out of maybe the motion. Just
No,
I don't, it wasn't in the motion.
They can
Okay.
use it for evidence. anyway.
Okay.
Use it for what they want.
Okay, any other discussion? Councilwoman Baumgartner?
So to clarify, right, we're saying, because if they were to use it as evidence, that would require security measures and different things in place. And we're just saying they have the option to build it to something in the future. Right now, we're just building an addition and a storage space for potential use by police.
The other thing I heard in your motion was also that we'll wait for them to kind of reconfigure and get more information. That you're not closing the door to the design, just that we need to get the right design, I believe is what I'm hearing.
Correct.
And then the other thing I just wanted to say is, so I was part of a lot of the meetings as these plans were being developed. And there were a lot of different ideas from the police about the design and their needs. And one concern I have is that we are going to have a change in leadership soon with the chief retiring. So I'm not sure if that'll also affect what the priorities are for the department based on that shift in leadership. So that's my concern.
A very fair comment.
Anyone else? One of the things that stuck out with, at our Wednesday meeting was that they were very much in favor of keeping the Sally Port, which this will allow them to keep. So that's one thing that they'll get to keep that they said they were never in favor of getting rid of in the first place, but we don't think that's true, but anyhow. With that all, anybody else have anything else to bring forward? Can we just restate the motion, please?
I move that we complete the rear garage and allow the police to utilize the room behind the now outfitted public space room for bicycles, evidence, whatever they choose, and then not spend any more money on design.
Thank you. Everyone understands and it's pretty clear now. All right, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. All right, that moves us. Do
Mr. President.
we have to also discuss?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay, so we all said, we just agreed that they can come back to us. I think we should give them a timeline to come back to us. Right? I mean, we don't have to make that decision today, but we should give them a timeline.
Yeah, I think maybe Jen Ed on Thursday should have that discussion. And that'll give me a day or two to speak with our architect too. Because I'm sure that whatever they come up with, it's gonna have to go through W2A.
Okay. If you turn to page 3 now, that leads us to construction management. It's one of the following options, which is authorize borough manager to place an RFP to hire a construction firm as an agent with a 3% cost of construction,
No, that would be approximate, yeah.
an estimate, yeah. Advertise for an employee or such as hiring a construction manager as an employee for about 150,000 in benefits, or do not hire construction management. I believe from what I remember from all our discussions, nobody's in favor of the third one. And I believe most people were in favor of the first one, but I'll ask for discussion or motion if somebody would like. Councilman Balliet.
Mr. President, I would make a motion for us to hire a construction firm to manage the project.
There's a motion by Councilman Balliet, seconded by Councilman Dufresne. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Which leads us to hiring a consultant. We're voting on these separately. Shane, is it, Are we voting under each one? There's two. Are we
Ye-
voting for both of them?
No, one or the other.
So we're, okay. Do we have to take the lowest one? Or
Y-
no,
y-
because it's.
You don't, yeah, you do not have to, but
Do we have any recommendations?
yeah,
from
our
you?
recommendation for environmental engineering is Element Environmental.
Okay, is it a motion to approve Element Environmental Solutions for an approximate, is it approximate or is that what it will be?
That's their quote. And just 1 second, our architects are here. So Glenn and Christine are both here. They can weigh in on this. Element Environmental was our preferred firm, right? Yeah, so their answer is yes.
All right. Is there a motion to approve them? Councilman Anders, second by Councilwoman McManaman. Any discussion?
I have a quick question. So as I was reading the details for all these engineers, they were based on sort of the highest cost specs of the building plans, right? So I'm wondering if we should put in our motion that up to that amount that's listed there. Would that be
That's correct.
fair?
Yeah.
Talked about it has to be refined to your bidding.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What you voted on.
So
So-
essentially, the number here is the highest,
That's
and it
correct.
should be less. So should we make a motion to say
Well,
that we would not
it-
exceed that
let's-
amount, or?
We can look at each one. For instance, Element Environmental, that's looking at Borough Hall, we're doing all that. And also the fire and ambulance. all that. So their price wouldn't change. So we can kind of walk through these. Explain, would change. But Element Environmental or any hazmat consultation, those prices will not. For these two buildings.
Just curious, Jonas, can you just nod your head if you could hear him all right? Could you,
I'm
hear?
sorry.
No, you could not hear
You
him.
could
all
not
right.
hear me
Okay,
again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Jonas. Hey, Jonas, if
Thank you.
you ever
I'll
can't
say it
hear
again.
somebody, can you just give me a wave or something so I know, please? Thank you.
I'll start all over again. Okay. Element and I want to make sure I get this right. Element Environmental is a hazard material consultant that will look at the buildings and then do documents in order for you then to get prices on the abatement part of each of the jobs. Town hall and fire and ambulance both need their services, and their price includes both those buildings. So there wouldn't be a downward change because of the scope of what you approved tonight already, okay?
All right, and we have a motion on the floor. Any more comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. That leads us to structural engineering. We have Lock Engineering and Ruther and Brown. What is the recommendation of the?
Our recommendation is definitely Lock Engineering, and they are a borough firm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Lock Ridge.
Yeah, it's Lock Ridge.
Oh, would
Yeah,
somebody like to
Lock Ridge.
make a recommendation for Lockridge Engineering? Councilman Hart, seconded by Councilman Dufrain. Any questions or discussion on that? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Geotechnical Engineering, we have Earth Engineering and Geotechnology Associates. Is there a recommendation for them?
Yeah, our recommendation again is Earth Engineering, and they are a borough firm.
Nice. Is there a motion to approve them? Councilman Valley, seconded by Councilman Hart. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. That takes us to page 4. Hiring consultants. We have Odd Consulting for surveying, stormwater, general engineering for Town Hall, Central Station. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve Odd Consulting? Also a borough engineer.
And our borough engineer.
and or borough engineer. Councilman Anders, seconded by Councilwoman McManaman. Any discussion or questions?
Mr. President, they have a quote for their costs in here. Are they capped at those costs, which would be 100 and?
So their feeling is that that's probably going to be the maximum, but it really depends on, again, what the scope of the project ends up being. So they're confident. I mean, obviously you just voted to do the fire station, so their number is going to be probably maxed there. Depending on what you end up doing with the police station in the end, it could probably be lower.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. And we have W2A to complete design and bid work, construction management, etc. For design development, construction documents, bid process and award, construction administration. Would somebody like to approve W2A? Councilman Hart, seconded by Councilwoman McManaman. Any questions or discussion on that? All those in favor? Oh,
Yeah, I just want to say
not a borough.
no, they are not a borough firm. I just do want to say though publicly that they have done a phenomenal job. And I certainly appreciate, the challenge that we've had with doing most of these things on Zoom, but you guys have done a great job and you've been very patient, very professional. I appreciate everything you've done so far. So I want to say that publicly. Thank you for everything that you've done and the hard work you've put in. I do feel that we've gotten more details and a comprehensive look at these projects than what we did prior. So thank you for all that. And you've stepped outside of your scope of work to help me get costs for engineering, costs for other consultants. And I really appreciate that. You've saved me a lot of my own personal work and I appreciate that.
Thank you
so much.
Councilman
Thank
Dufresne.
you.
Shane, I know you broke this out for us, but there's so many numbers here. This is the additional spend on top of the 53.8, right? Or is that's already included in?
Yeah, so no, the 53.8's already been spent.
Yeah.
That was the preliminary
So
design.
These are the additional.
These are the additional, and by the way, these are max, right? So because we're not building across the alley, because we're paring down some of the project, that price tag included all of that. So they will submit, once they have a final project, they will submit an amended fee to us, but this is maximum cost for them.
Thank you.
Depending, that is later on when you talk about consecutive versus doing the projects at the same time, that depends on, I think, that probably as well, because if this project goes on 3 or 4 years or 2 or 3 years, obviously it's going to be more cost for them.
Thanks.
Anybody else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. I also concur with Shane. Thank you for everything you have done. I know your availability, you have been available whenever we needed you. And that's also part of being, it's very important part of doing a project is when you need an answer, you can get it. So appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We appreciate and look forward to working with everyone. Thank you.
Under communications, we have 5 companies we're going to vote on: Infradap, Integra One, Tech Data, RCN, and Echo Communications. We're going to do these as a whole. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve those 5 companies? Councilman Dufresne, seconded by Councilman Valiant. Any discussion on that?
Just
Councilman Anders.
one question, Shane. I see RCN. Is that who we currently have for phone?
No.
So will there be anything?
Yeah, so I mean, you see, like we have gone out and we've met with, I don't know how many phone people and internet people. RCN, this is going to include fiber to all 3 buildings. It's a business grade fiber to the buildings. So that way we can also run our surveillance systems,
Okay.
which is important. And, with the mounting amount of technology in the police department, a regular internet type of service is not suitable. So this includes that. It includes the voice over phone systems, all the technology that when we're ripping everything out, we're going to do it right. So it includes all of that, but we've looked at numerous systems, and our feeling with RCN is it's a one-stop shop. There's no pointing the finger at the phone system's down. It's the same company that's in charge of the internet. It's the same company that's in charge of the lines coming in. There's no pointing to this guy trying to figure out this or that or the next thing. It's one and done. So our position was that we really need that single point of access with them. And they're definitely the best internet provider that we can get.
Okay, thank you.
Police department and I, we had a big presentation on their phones, and I mean, they've been great. We're running their service out to the park as well, so that way we can run the surveillance system out there with the proper internet connection to bounce it back. So yeah, our feeling is that RCN is by far superior throughout the whole communication process.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes, which takes us to page 5. Do we want to do concurrent projects or consecutive projects? So I think it was consensus to do them at the same time. So if somebody would like to make a motion, Councilman Hart, Councilwoman Baumgartner,
So
with the second is to go do concurrently. Councilman Dufresne?
So obviously, we only really approved 2 tonight. So if we vote yes to concurrent and the police department comes back to us with the design that we accept, it's automatically going to be concurrent.
Jonas can't hear you.
Well, I would
we need
think,
to speak.
Sorry. So we technically only approved 2 projects tonight. So if we vote for concurrent and the police department comes back to us with the design that we accept, if we vote yes tonight, that will include the police department being concurrent.
I would
also.
say no. I would say that it includes what we approved tonight only. And we can address it when we get to that.
Well, I don't think you're hurting anything by saying you would want to do all 3 at the same time.
Okay.
I don't think that it would hurt
I mean,
anything.
theoretically, the garage is part of concept 3, so
Right.
we're doing that.
Yeah.
So we're voting that no matter what extent we do here, they're going to be concurrent. Okay.
I think that's the preference. Am I right,
Everybody
Mr.
agrees on
Licamona?
that then? All right.
Yeah.
Councilman Hart.
I agree, without holding up the first 2.
You got to, that microphone's going to be, you're going to take,
I'm
it takes
sorry.
getting used to.
I would agree, concurrent with the first 2, but I would, and desirous to have the police department in with that group, but I would not want the police department project to delay the first 2 projects.
Okay. All right. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. And we have 1 prime versus multiple prime contractors. I believe we're all in favor of having a single prime contractor. Would somebody like to make a motion or the other if they so choose? Councilman Balliet, seconded by Councilwoman Baumgartner. Any
What's-
discussion on this?
Yeah, what's the,
1 single prime contractor is the motion, and it was by Councilman Balliet, seconded by Shannon.
Okay.
Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes, and we just went through 5 pages. I like that. All right, back to our agenda. So looking at this, we went all the way through to 16S, which leads us to committee reports. Public Works Committee Chairman Anders.
Yes, I have nothing for official action. Just
that's
w-
not true.
We have the fuel tank
Oh, the fuel-
monitors.
I do have something for official action. So the other day, we received a message in regards to an inspection of our gas tanks, and the inspection shows that our alarm sensor went bad. It was installed in 1994. So we have to replace this within 30 days. If we do not, we will not be able to utilize those pumps. Shane, did you want to go about how we got the price for that?
Yeah, well, so this was obviously a surprise. You know, we wouldn't have known that it went bad without the inspection. DEP has recently changed their inspection program from every 3 years to every year. So we were actually, more concerned that there would be more, possibility, more issues. Anytime you have an underground storage tank, you've always got to think of all of the possibilities. But the reality is, sometime in the last year and a half, I would think it's more recently, but I don't know, but that emergency sensor stopped working. And so by their requirements, we have to have it fixed. We went out and got the quote right away because we have a month to replace it. This was not budgeted. This was a surprise, obviously. So Hafer Equipment, gave us the price tag because they're the ones.
$13,192.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's not expected. It's unbudgeted. I would ask that, we can't take it to committee because we don't have time to mess around with it. We have to do this. Otherwise, we have to get a credit card and give it to every department and tell them to start going to a retail gas pump. That's our choice. So I would ask. Yeah, I see that. I'll pay the extra $1, Brent.
All right, so would you like to place a motion that for Hafer Petroleum Equipment for $13,192?
That is correct, sir.
Motion by Councilman Anders, seconded by Councilwoman Baumgartner. Any discussion?
I would just suggest, it's gonna have to come out of your contingency fund unless you just want to blow out another line item somewhere.
We'll let staff determine that.
I'll inform Budget and Finance where we're gonna take it from.
Councilman
That is
Balliet?
something that
Mr.
we need to really purchase tomorrow.
Yeah.
Councilman Balliet?
I would just ask the Budget and Finance Committee maybe for some input on this, where they stand.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? There are 7 ayes.
Our next meeting is May 12th at 4 PM, and that will be via Zoom. I'll report progress.
Thank you. Health, Sanitation, and Codes Committee, Chairman Balliet.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have nothing for official action tonight. What I would like to do is let everybody know that we moved the Hazardous Waste Day to October 30th this year. And with that, I'll report progress. And our next meeting is going to be May 26th at 4:45.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation Committee, Chairwoman Baumgartner.
I have nothing for official action. Our next meeting is tomorrow via Zoom at 4:45 PM. Progress.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Chairman Hart.
We have not had a meeting since the last council meeting, so we too have nothing to
Into the
report.
microphone, please.
We too have nothing to report, with the exception of our next meeting occurring on May the 10th at 9:15 AM on a Zoom call. I report progress.
Thank you. General Administration Committee is myself. We need to advertise for Assistant Borough Manager. If I'll go to the meeting minutes. Our Assistant Borough Manager timeline will be, we'll vote on it tonight. Advertising will go across Pennsylvania in like 5 or 6 different publications. Applications will be due June 16th. Shane will narrow down the applications and conduct initial interviews. General Administration Committee will interview the top 5 candidates the week of July 1st. Council will interview the top 2 or 3 candidates the week of July 12th, hiring July 19th and starting August 9th. That's the general timeline that we came up with at General Administration. So would somebody like to make a motion to allow for advertising for Assistant Borough Manager? Councilwoman Baumgartner, second by Councilman Balliet. Any questions or discussion on that? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. We will need a motion to appoint Jeffrey Dimick as our borough solicitor through the end of 2021 or until mutually agreed upon time. Would somebody like to make that motion? Councilman Hart, second by Councilman Anders. Just want to say that when he eventually does do it, I want to hope that he enjoys his retirement
Thank you.
and travels if they allow, if
I
the
can-
world allows you to
the
travel.
world allows it. yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Then we need to appoint Norris McLaughlin / Tom Dinkellocker as our special solicitor for land use. It will be the same contracted prices that we have now through the end of 2021. Would somebody like to make that motion? Councilman Dufresne, seconded by Councilwoman Baumgartner.
I'm sorry, so it's
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Then we need to appoint Jackie Trexler from Norris McLaughlin to be our municipal liens and delinquent tax collector. This will also be for the same rate that we are currently paying through the end of 2021. Would somebody like to make that motion? Councilwoman McManaman, seconded by Councilman Balliet.
Mr.
Any que-
President, it looks like the motion may have to include the date in there as well.
I said through 2021.
It says that May 19th moving forward.
Well, that would be,
into the mic, into the mic.
Every year you must appoint a delinquent tax collector, whoever that entity
Yeah,
or
but
person.
I think at the last meeting though, Mr. Dimick, I think what he's saying is
Yes,
your suggestion was that we actually make an effective date because of when your firm dissolves.
Yes.
Yes.
It should be from the 19th forward.
yes.
May
So I'd like to
okay,
amend that
I
motion.
will have the amendment or the motion amended and second amended, like Terry. All right, thank you. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
If I may just explain that, Mr. President, it's very important because we have to give notices to the Tax Claim Bureau and all of the people who buy and sell real estate. They have to know exactly who to get their tax lien search from and who is in charge of paying off what liens and all that.
Will your firm do that communication or is that something that comes out of my office?
That will come out of Norris McLaughlin.
Thank you.
Or it should.
We'll make sure that it does.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's it for things we need to take action on. We have our meeting minutes. Our meeting is this Thursday at 9 a.m. Via Zoom. Progress, Budget and Finance Committee Chairman Dufresne.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I have Resolution 2021-21, the bill list resolved by Borough Council to authorize payment of the May 3rd, 2021 bill list as follows. Bill list $123,197.60. Payroll number 8, $185,425.43. Payroll taxes, $59,264.48, for a total of $367,887.51, done this 3rd day of May 2021.
The motion by Councilman
Motion,
Dufresne,
yep.
seconded by Councilman Hart. Any questions or discussion? I have a question, and I don't need the answer now because I could have brought it up earlier, but I didn't think of it. Page 21, it says for the item, it just says Amazon, which is where it was purchased from. I see Amazon showing up a lot more now, and when it says Amazon, it usually says the item after that.
Yeah, and
That case, it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't have. So I did make a significant purchase from Amazon for PPE supplies, disinfectant, and a bunch of other stuff for the swimming pool.
Yeah, I don't know
So
if
that's
it was Public Works, but I don't know if it was.
that would be it.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be.
And
it.
then also I saw we purchased WeatherTech mats and I was just wondering for what vehicle. I don't need to know. if
Yeah,
you
I'm
know.
not sure.
Yeah, I'm just curious if you could let me know, because they are rather expensive, but they are, in my opinion, a good investment because it does protect rather well. I'm just curious of where we're putting those. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Okay, so the next thing, it's in your packet here under, it's the first tab in the financial consulting firm when we talk about hiring somebody. So I just want to talk at a 30,000 foot level here. We're not voting on financing tonight. So this is just for us to keep in mind going forward. The only thing we're going to vote on tonight after I discuss this is who we're going to hire to be our financial consultant. So we're not approving financing. We're not approving any of that here. But if you look at that tab here, what one of the financial consultants did for us is model it out. So these are no longer Chris and Shane's numbers. These are a financial consultant's number who does bond financing for a living. So right now, with his understanding of the bond market, if you look at the first page, again, we looked at the sewer, we looked at refinancing current debt and the additional debt to do the buildings. And when we met with them last week, Shane and I kind of just said, can you please build us a model that shows about 250,000 a year in sewer payments, because that's how much we collect in the capital improvements surcharge that we can apply towards this. That's already built into that budget. And then the $640-ish thousand, that's approximately, it changes every year by a few $1,000s, but that's approximately what we already pay a year based on our current financing with the SSA Bank. Okay, so he did some models for us. So if we want to do the sewer loan for over 20 years, there you can see we can get 250,000 over 20 years. And if you look down into the orange section there where it says project fund, we would actually receive cash of $4,025,000 under that scenario. All right. If you look at the general fund, so that would be what would be coming from the refinancing of the debt if we chose to do that, and the construction of the buildings here, we would actually walk away with 7.44 million of cash down in the orange section again. 2.9 million would be used to pay off the old debt. And then there'd be a cost of issuance there that would all be financed back into here. So if we were to do this, both projects over 20 years, we could borrow approximately 4 million for the sewer, which is what we had planned, 7.4 million for the building fund, and we would be able to fit that into our current debt structure that we have in place. If you see in the all-in true interest cost at the bottom of that page, the interest rate's 2.1% for the 20 years. The blended interest rate is 2.1% for the 20 years. And again, that includes the cost of issuance of the bond. So you can see the cost of issuance is 197,000 there, which, as we've said, bond financing is always more expensive than bank loans. We would be going out into the bank loan department too, but he's just pricing the bonds because he has more data on that. The banks are going to do what the banks want to do. At that point, they have a little bit more flexibility. The cost of issuance includes everything: the bond fee, the underwriters, the rating of the bond, the rating of us for the bonds, his fees, the attorney's fees. So that's all the cost. He said he was conservative on the cost. It's probably a little bit on the high side, but he'd rather be conservative. And right now he's slightly conservative on the interest rate, but over the last month or so, and he's correct, interest rates weekly basis have changed 20 to 30 basis points. They just keep going up and down in the same market. So if we only wanted to do all of those for just 20 years, we could make it work if we finance no more than 7.4 million on the buildings. That doesn't mean we should finance 7.4, just giving us numbers to work with when we make decisions. The second page, he kept the sewer at 20 years because that math worked already. And then he moved the general fund to a 25-year amortization to keep the payments about the same. So if we chose to do that, if you look down into the orange section again, we could borrow a little over $9 million to do the building construction if we chose to. The blended interest rate there would be about 2.3% over the 20 plus years of amortization. And then the last page, if we took the sewer at the 20 years and the other funding at 30 years, we could actually borrow about 10.4 million of new money to put into our building projects. And that blended interest rate over essentially, 25-year time period there, when you blend the two together, would be a little under 2.5%. So this is the bond market. When we hire the financial consultant to help us, he's going to explore the bond market. They are going to explore the bond market for us and the bank loan. And he's going to work with us on what to put out there. He did mention You know, Roy, you've asked a couple times and a couple other people have asked too. I think Brent's asked too, you know, there's going to be other things down the line. There's going to be other things down the line. If we wanted to take the sewer loan out to about 30 years, we could actually borrow $5 million and keep the same $250-ish thousand payment. Doesn't mean we have to. He's just saying that. Plus we have 1 point some million that we just got from the grant that we could use for the sewer projects. So again, this is the flexibility, and this is what I would look at, you know, in my business, say, okay, here's my parameters now. How do I make the right decisions? Not that I want to spend the maximum amount, but how do I make the right decisions on financing and stuff? So the one thing he did caution us on is the debt that's being refinanced. He'd have to, whoever got hired would have to explore that debt more, because you can only refinance that debt over the useful life of the initial asset. So the building on Minor Street that we bought, he's comfortable we can do that. He has to check what the original debt came from the other portion of that. So, so that's just the parameters on that. Does anybody have any questions on just that part?
Just a statement. I would hope that our project costs will determine what we borrow and not what we're able to get. I hope that
Absolutely.
That's the intention.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
our conversation the other day was, you know, we just wanted him to run a scenario of, if Borough Council does not want to raise taxes and keep our structure right where it is, what numbers are we looking at? Because if we're saying, hey, you know, you can only borrow $5 million for what we're paying right now, we would want to know that, you know, because that means you're looking at a tax increase. So we wanted to know, like, okay, based on, you know, our current debt of $640,000 a year, what number, like how high of a number does that end up being? So we can make decisions based on, you know, are we going to be forced to do a tax increase, or can we consider that rapid in loan? So that's why we asked him. We're not suggesting that's what we are going to do, but we wanted to show you guys that based on exactly what you're paying in debt right now and what you have earmarked in the sewer fund, what your maximum amount of money could be for financing. And based on the estimates that W2A have given us, it looks like, you know, now the market and construction changes every day. You have to know that. But it looks like you could do your projects that you just approved without impacting what we're paying on a yearly basis in financing. So that's why we looked at it that way for today.
It's not to show the cost. And
Yeah.
Brent, one other thing I did forget to add, because you had brought up a few times that we now be financing the 2026 debt, 2026, over 20 or 30 years. This structure, he's extending that initial note only
Yeah, I
2
read
years.
that.
You read
I
that
did
part?
read that,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, there was, I think, 3 options. One and 1, 2 years,
Yeah.
one and 1, 3 years, and one and 1,
One of
4.
The most would be 4 years. for
Yep,
that.
I did see that. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. Any other questions on that part?
No.
All right.
I just want to point out that under the Local Unit Government Debt Act, step A is basically to come up with what you're going to spend and design, because they don't want you to use the money for arbitrage. I mean, you just cannot do it. So step A is going to be decide exactly what you want.
And the financial consultant said he'd work with us on that. So with that said, like I said, Shane and I met with Ryan Hottenstein from FS&L Financial Solutions last week. And I'm going to put in the form of a motion that we hire FS&L Financial Solutions to be our financial consulting firm to help us with the bonds or bank debt financing for any of these projects and all of these projects.
Motion by Councilman Dufresne, seconded by Councilman Hart. Any questions on that? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Okay, and next, Shane, I did want to ask you one question. Based on what they said to us last week, we approved the law firm later, or that just, because he said we actually picked the law firm?
Yeah, we would approve the law firm later. I mean, I would imagine it's going to be King Spry, who
Okay.
specializes in the bond market, but
So we would just do that in the future?
we would do that. We would do that in the future. I mean, I think it also depends on what kind of financing you decide on doing.
Okay,
By the way, I would recommend them highly. I work with them all the time on these bonds.
Okay, thank you. You can then see the meeting notes that are in there. We've had some pretty productive meetings here. So next meeting here is May 6th at 11 a.m. on Zoom. I report progress.
Thank you. Community Relations Planning and Development Committee Chairwoman McManaman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing for official action this evening. Our next meeting is Monday, May 10th at 4:30. Progress.
At this point, we have junior council members report. Junior council member Jonas.
Hello. I have exciting news. The Amaze Theater Department will stream a pre-recorded performance of Tuck Everlasting on Saturday, June 5th at 7 p.m. and Sunday, June 6th at 2 p.m. And the cost of the access will be $15. And with that, I report progress.
Thank you, Jonas. How many more meetings you have left? Oh, he can't answer.
2.
Two?
Oh,
Oh,
is that
2 more meetings?
only 2?
May and June?
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
You can be in the audience during the rest of them.
True.
Next on the agenda, you have boards and commission meeting minutes, 5 different sets. Personal appeals part 2. Does anybody have a personal appeal? There's nobody in Borough Council chambers, but we'll unmute our virtual guests and see if anyone has a public appeal. If you do, state your name, where you're from, and your appeal, and if you could turn your video on. Just
Chief Palmer's here.
just speak up, whoever.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, I just want to take a couple minutes and say thank you for listening to us in the final stages of this design project. As far as an answer, I think we'll have an answer as early as tomorrow's 9 o'clock staff meeting that Shane has with the department heads. We've been doing this by committee since November to lay some concerns to rest. The project direction isn't going to change with me leaving. I haven't been making too many decisions on this and helping with ideas and stuff like that since November. But as far as making decisions, I couldn't in good conscience make decisions that aren't going to affect me. I'm done in a month, so I'm steering the ship, being the spokesman. I'm the ugly face of the police department for 3 more weeks. But as far as the decision making, we have people on that committee that we had that are going to be here for the next 10, 12 years. So with that being said, I think that we're pretty confident that that last design that we came up with the walkthrough with the architects actually over in our building, with the blowing out the wall from the evidence room into the current arms room, moving the current arms room downstairs, and then in the future, possibly having to use some space next door. Now, when that conversation came up, what we're looking at is basically just storage space. I don't think it's anything that needs to be architecturally designed at this point. We're just going to ask if you set aside some square footage that in the future, if we need something, we're talking about closing in a room, securing it, and depending on what we have to put in there, it might need some climate control, but that's it. So other than that, one other thing that I'll just lay to rest, Shane, I'm not interested in being the assistant borough manager. I won't be applying.
Hey, Chief, we already had a job lined up for you and Mr. Farnsworth with transporting people from one brewery to the other, I thought.
Yeah, the rickshaw.
Yeah, that was, I thought we already,
Rickshaw.
yeah.
Yeah,
I thought we already had that lined up.
I'm going to put my broad shoulders to good use.
It was,
But we
Can you
do
hook
need
your motorcycle
lifeguards.
up to a rickshaw?
Yeah,
we
Yeah.
thought we had a profit plan there. We talked about this.
yeah. So again, I think we'll I'll meet with the committee first thing tomorrow morning, and we'll have answer on what we'd like to see. Again, very minimal, and we appreciate the hard work and putting up with the frustration that we have caused everyone.
All right, thank you, Chief. Anybody else with the public appeal?
Let me make sure that I can, I'll hit on mute again.
If you have a public appeal, just state your name and where you're from. All right, hearing none. As soon as Shane is finished.
Yep.
It's Borough Manager's report.
Okay, so I have numerous items for you that have popped up over the last few days that we didn't get a chance to talk about at committee. First one is, I have a resolution for you, 2021-22. It's a multimodal transportation streetscape grant application. So I'm very happy to announce that we received, I think it's $525,000 for a multimodal grant to do South Second Street. That's fantastic. It's great news. The problem is it's projected to be a $2 million project, which means we are backtracking, downscaling, changing the scope of work. But the multimodal fund also has a streetscape grant that just came out and is due in July. And what that can address is part of the application that was in the original grant for the sidewalks, the curbs, some of the streetscape type of design work that we applied for in the last one. So, my position is let's apply for it. If we don't get it, we don't get it. But to me, it's a major part of that project that we would not be doing otherwise. So I would ask that you would adopt that resolution to allow me to apply for that grant.
Is there a motion to approve? Councilman Dufresne?
It's 575.
575.
I put the wrong number in your head.
Yeah, I thought it was 575. Okay, well, that's even better. So we got 575,000 out of the $2 million project.
Councilwoman McManaman seconds it. Any discussion? This is straight up money, it's no matching.
It's matching. Yeah, there's matching to it. But again, it was, we were going after that $2 million. So it would be the same matching on it. I think it's 70-30, I think is what the grant would be.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
The only thing that I would say to you is I can't tell you exactly what the amount is going to be yet because we had to change the scope of the project and turn that back into, PADCED. And once we do that for the grant that we currently received, then we can kind of backtrack into exactly what we can apply for on the streetscape side. So I didn't give you an exact dollar figure because, we just found out Thursday, Friday on receiving the grant. So we're still kind of spinning our wheels a little bit as to what the new scope of work will look like. The good news is we're still going to be able to get half a mile of road done. So, that's not to be discounted. That's a great thing. The problem is for 575,000 plus a match, you still only get half a mile of road done. It's still a lot of money. So the second grant that I'm going to ask for approval for a resolution would be resolution 2021-23 that would authorize me to apply for a municipal assistance program grant. That's the MAP grant. And that grant is to apply for assistance to help us with the writing of the Saldo ordinance, the zoning ordinance, and the official map. You see there's a little bit of creativity as to how to write that grant, but I do think that the way that we're writing it fits within the scope of what we're trying to accomplish. And that is that since we adopted the multi-municipal plan for the Southwest Lehigh Comprehensive Plan, that we are, essentially forced to rewrite our zoning ordinance and to bring it up to date based on what we approved and adopted. So we're going to write the grant in that way. So that's why I believe that it does fit the scope of work. So I would ask that you adopt that resolution.
All right, somebody want to make a motion to approve resolution 2021-23? Councilman Bally is seconded by Councilwoman McManaman. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? There are 7 ayes.
Okay, now give me just a second. Somebody's in the waiting room at 8:15. I'm going to make it so they can't start their video. and they can't speak, and we'll admit them. Okay, so the next thing is we received correspondence the other day from our code enforcement department that the 1803 house, and Mrs. McManaman, I'm hoping that you might have some insight on this because I do not have any, other than the email that I received. And that is that the Friends of the 1803 house want to be able to host weddings at the building and on the grounds. They have to go through a zoning hearing board decision. That's the proper way to do that. In order to do that, though, they have to have written consent and recommendation from the property owner, which just so happens to be the Borough of Emmaus. So I would need approval from you to write a letter saying that the borough, authorizes and would be in support of them having weddings at the grounds. And I'm hoping, Mrs. McManaman, maybe you have some inside information because I do not.
So simply, they just want to be able to utilize the property, not indoors, but outside property. And it was just another way to fundraise or to bring in more revenue there. They have spoken to Mr. Hammond.
Yes.
And the interaction was great at the last board meeting. This is part of their 5-year plan that we've asked them to do. So they're really thinking out of the box and trying to come up with ideas to utilize this space.
And are there bathrooms there, or is it just porta toilets for the ball field?
No, there are no bathrooms. They would have to get a porta
1803.
potty.
This is the one down
Oh,
by.
1803. Oh, that, yeah. I'm thinking.
So they understand they would have to, there would have to be another.
All right. All those of, and,
Well, I would ask for a motion and a second. And all that good stuff.
oh, is it motion? Councilman Hart, seconded by Councilman Elliott, to approve a letter of support for the 1803 house. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Thank you. The last thing that I want to announce is that we hired Jared Green for the summer park, so he would be the 3rd and final summer parks employee. I also did just received late this afternoon, and it didn't get into your packet, but Noah Carl has finished his requirements to become firefighter level 2. We can wait until your next council meeting to do that promotion if you'd like, or we can address it tonight. I did not give you the letter of recommendation because I didn't get it until later in the day today. But he does fulfill the requirements, and per their contractual agreement, Borough Council would need to approve that promotion.
I'm fine with doing it tonight. If somebody would like to make the motion. Councilwoman Baumgartner, seconded by Councilman Dufresne. Any discussion? Well, congratulations to him. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Thank you. Other than that, I think you guys have dealt with enough from me today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'll report progress.
President's business. It's nice to see the family back together again. Can't see you smiling, but kind of, I see the cheekbones go up a little, so we'll count that as a smile. Glenn and Christine, thank you for coming tonight again. And I don't know if we have any reporters online, but we'll allow them to ask questions when we adjourn. And of course, our in-house journalists too. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Councilman Anders, seconded by Councilman Valiant. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Meeting adjourned at 8:19. Good job, everyone.